really excited and honored to play in the Independence Bowl. It's an incredible bowl. I've watched it a ton of times growing up, and a huge fan. And I'm excited about playing in Shreveport. I think it's going to be great for our fan base because it's so close. And to so many of our areas between Houston and Dallas, and so I know we're going to have a great fan base. Our players are really excited to play Cal. It was huge to be able to play a team like that, play a Power 5 team. And they're really hot right now. Got to see a little bit of their game whenever they beat UCLA, in their last game of the season. So we're really excited. The good thing too is it's going to be quick. We're going to be able to. We've practiced our young guys a couple of times last week, but we'll get going on Tuesday for game planning on Cal and be ready to go on the 16th.
All right. By the way, before you ask your question, please state who your affiliation, please. And if I butcher any names, I am very sorry. Let's start with Christian Demers, KSLA Shreveport.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, man.
Hey, congratulations on making it to the bowl game. Hey, Coach, I want to ask you, how often do you personally make it through Shreveport? And what did the players say when you first told them that they were going to the Independence Bowl?
We've recruited some guys. We've got some guys on our current roster that's from Louisiana, a couple of them from the Shreveport area. And so, Macho Stevenson, whenever did an in-home visit, and he's really excited. I know he's going to have a bunch of people at the game. But the guys were excited, one, because it's a well-known bowl. People understand the history behind the Independence Bowl, and so they were excited. I think they're excited too about the opponent, and I know Cal feels the same way. Whenever you go through these bowls, you want to be able to play the best opponent you can. And, we've got a lot of ties with Cal too, on the defensive side with Tim DeRuiter being a former defense coordinator, and Marcel Yates, Ryan Connery. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun too, with it, just as far as the coaching staff have a lot of respect, for what they've done this year. And so the guys are really excited. And, whenever you think about it and you're going to a place, Shreveport's a fun place to be, and I know my father-in-law is really excited. He spends a few days during the year, in a couple of those casinos. And so I think he's already got some rooms that he's calling in, saying that, hey, I'm going to be there on the 16th.
Don't we all, Coach?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to Jarrett Ramirez.
Hey, come here.
Hey, Coach, this is Jarrett. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, so I know you got, several of the freshmen.
Want to hear Coach McGuire? This is his press conference right now for the bowl game.
Hi.
You there?
Yeah, somebody was cutting in, I guess. I don't know.
Good.
So some of the freshman receivers, I guess, what's their development been like over the course of the season? And I guess with some of the older guys hitting the portal, do you think we might see some of those guys in the bowl game?
It's going to be interesting. That was last week. We lifted the old guys, ran them to keep in shape. And, we had developmental practices. We practice those guys, full scrimmage if they don't play in a game, every Sunday, and then they've, with TJ West, with Kelby, with DJ Crest, they've had I've been really happy with their progress. And it's going to be interesting. There'll be a lot of competition on, the snaps for the bowl game. It's like that anyway. But I think there's a couple of them we might see. But it'll be interesting, man. We'll go through these next 2 weeks. We already have a plan. There was a couple bowls that we were expecting to play in. This was one of them, and so we kind of had practice mapped out. And so we're going to have some really good practices to get ready for Cal.
And just with the timing of the bowl game, I guess being a little maybe earlier than some of the other ones, how does that affect, I guess, just like the mid-year freshmen and how many practices they might be able to participate in?
Yeah, that's the one that we're working to today. Antonio and Quentin Jordan and Harrison Hanna are kind of working through to see, if we actually can, because some of these guys, will still be in school, and part of their requirements to graduate to be mid-years, are part of that attendance. And so we've got to see if we can get one or two or three or four practices in with those guys. They can't play in the bowl game, but it would be good to get them on campus and, just have them run around with, their future teammates.
Okay, let's go to Justin Apodaca. Justin, I get that right? Close?
Yes, sir, you did.
All right.
Head coach, Justin Apodaca, RedRaidersports.com. How healthy is your team at this point? I know you got pretty dinged up there in Austin last time we saw you guys play. And I guess, is the status of a guy like Steve Litton available for a game in 2 weeks?
He's a lot better, and the good thing is we've got 2 more weeks. But like the guys like Cam Watts, we expect him to play in the bowl game. He ran and lifted with the group. BJ Jordan, all the guys that got banged up in that game in Texas, and then again the one that's you really got to focus on is Baron Morton, and it's good. Like this whole last week, he didn't have to do anything. He just lifted and ran, so he didn't throw. And so I think by the 16th, I would be shocked if he's not 100%. As close to 100% as you can get, and so I expect those guys to be good. We should have Tyler Owens back fully healthy, and Steve's running around. He lifted last week. We just need to go ahead of contact and everything like that with his lower back.
Okay, let's go to Faith Douglas.
Hey, Coach. Faith with KLBK here. What do you expect out of those O linemen since a couple of them hit the portal this past week? Who can we expect to see? And then what do you expect out of them for stepping up here at the very last game of the season now? Yeah,
I'm excited. We were hoping Cole Spencer would be back with, for Texas, but I would say if we were playing right now, if we were running out of the tunnel, we were playing right now, I expect Ty Buchanan at left tackle. You've got Jacoby Jackson at left guard. I think Cole's going to be in a position to where he possibly can play. You have Dennis Wilburn at center. You'll have Rusty Stats at right guard, and you'll have Caleb Rogers at right tackle. Matt Keeler will be right tackle behind Caleb. He's also played left tackle in games, so he could play some left tackle. And then you start getting into like Sheridan Wilson, which is already our backup center, will be there. Caden Carr has at different times been the number 2 at guard. And so that was one thing we feel really good, and I'm excited. I mean, I get a text from Ty Buchanan and say, "Hey, let's roll, coach." And so my expectation with him is to move him to right tackle in the spring. But I know he's really excited to start at left tackle, in the game against Cal.
I got no raised hands or no chat. Anybody? All right, Justin, back to you.
Coach, I was going to ask, so I don't know the next time that we're going to get to talk to you, and just with the portal opening tomorrow, and you've talked about wanting to improve this team, just like talent and depth a couple of weeks ago. I guess, what is your portal strategy going to be, and how many guys, I guess, do you want to look at adding?
We're signing anywhere between, and you could probably tell me exactly off the count, but I think we're right at 22 freshmen. And so we're fixed to sign a full class or close to a full class of freshmen. And it's going to be one of the best classes, I think, in the nation. And so I'm excited about that. We're going to do like we did last year, and that's going to be continue our philosophy. We're going to be recruiting heavy high school wise to develop our guys. And then there's going to be times to where you want to plug in a gap to where you're going to be really young, kind of like what we did last year. I think we ended up taking 6 guys out of the portal, and somewhere like that between 6 and 10. And, you know, you're always looking whenever you're talking about trying to create a program and take it to another level is, you know, you've got to continue to grow up front in the offense and defensive line. And we'll look at that and kind of go from there. It's going to be interesting. I've heard different coaches talk about tomorrow could be the wild, wild west. And I have a feeling that the wild, wild west started mid-season with different coaches talking to different players, you know, even before they were supposed to. So I think definitely you'll see some guys get in the portal across the nation tomorrow, but I think you're going to see a bunch of guys too already, you know, have a place to go play and go from there as far as how fast the turnaround is going to be. We feel like we've got a good plan, and you know, we're going to stick to it and start by building this team with guys that we recruit out of high school.
Okay, let's go to Jarrett Ramirez, and then we'll do Jarrett Johnson. Then we have a couple more after that too.
Sorry, I was muted. Coach, a guy we haven't heard about in a while, Isaac Smith. What's his rehab been like throughout the year? Where is he at?
Well, he benched 365 pounds the other day, so he's trending as far as in the weight room in a great way. Man, you're talking about a guy that just his grit, his toughness. I mean, you know how he plays. You can see it the way. I mean, he plays like his hair's on fire. We've really missed that, and but doing it as early as we did, it was very strategic as far as getting him back in the spring. I don't know how, like, it'll be close to a full spring. I don't know how much scrimmage we'll put him in, you know, to get twisted up and everything like that. But, you know, he's doing great. He's probably 260 to 265 pounds. And I mean, he looks great. He's and got a great attitude about what's going on. And he's been a really good teammate too, man. He's a guy that loves Texas Tech, loves coming in the building. And so he's right on schedule. You know, he's right on schedule. Trent Lowe is right there with him. He's right on schedule. Wesley Smith, again, a guy that, you know, I think it was Tarleton, you know, that got hurt. And so all those guys that, you know, were either before with Isaac or during the season, man, they're in really good shape as far as rehab and recovery.
And I guess if you had to say, I know you can't really speak for him, but as far as Taj goes, I guess, would you maybe expect him to play in the bowl game, or do you think he might opt out?
You know, it's always interesting. I'm going to back my guys whichever way they go. I'm going to try to give them the best advice. You know, I always tell them, you know, and you think about it, I guess he was the second pick overall and the third pick overall for Alabama. They both played in the bowl game, you know, and so I can understand if you're going to be a first round draft pick of going through that conversation, or maybe even a second round draft pick. But, you know, I would expect him to play. He's got a lot of things in front of him, and then he's got a big decision. He has another year, you know, to come back or declare for the draft. And, you know, I know this weekend he went home. We gave our guys off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so he went home to sit down with his parents and talk through, you know, what the next step is for him.
Go ahead, Jarrett Johnson.
Thanks. Hey, Coach, Jarrett Johnson, inside the Red Raiders, 24/7 Sports. I'm sorry if this was already asked. I had some technical difficulties earlier and got bounced out. But what about Jalen? Where is he health wise, and do you expect him to play? Jalen Hutchinson.
No, I don't expect him to play. You know, he'll be at the bowl game and be with us and everything. You know, he is probably going to get that knee scoped. I mean, just kind of cleaned up. And the biggest thing with him being injured already, he wants to have as much time from pro day until, you know, you kind of had a date of pro day, and then how many days he could get to be fully back to 100%, how many days he could train. So I don't expect Jalen to play in the bowl game.
And then with the transfer portal and some of the guys who've already announced they're expected to be in the portal, how much of an advance notice did you get from some of those players? And I guess just
I lost you, man. You cut out on me.
yeah, just with some of the offensive players who've already announced they're entering the transfer portal, what kind of advance notice did you get from them? When did you know they were going to be entering the portal? And I guess what was your reaction from some of those starting offensive players?
Anybody that I always say good luck and wish them the best, and I always end it with, if there's a way that I can help, I definitely want to help. Because the thing is, tomorrow's going to be crazy, and there's going to be some players that absolutely ruin their career. We track that. We actually use it in recruiting, of guys that left places that maybe caught 90 balls last year and went to another place and they caught 4 balls, and maybe you're no longer playing football. And so I always tell those guys, because at the end of the day, they're Red Raiders. They did a lot for this university. They did a lot for me whenever I came in. And so I want the best for them. I always want the best for the players. And so I always try to help as much as I can and, go from there. I mean, it's one of the deals of, it's just the nature of the beast of the college football that we live in right now. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of years. This starts to become real transactional. And so where does that go? Does it go to a true NFL model that if you're late to class, you get fined? If you're, based off of your production, which you can't do right now, but does it start becoming a true, NFL model? Because some of these are starting to become real transactional, and at the end of the day, if that's what it's going to be, then it ought to be based off of your production. And right now that's illegal. And so you can't do that, but at some point it's going to be. And so I wish them the best of luck. At the end of the day, I always do. I always tell everybody in our office, whenever we're recruiting kids, if they come here, they're supposed to be here. If they don't come here, good luck. They're not supposed to be Red Raiders. And so it's the same thing. I totally understand the world that we live in. The guys that are there, I'm going to coach their tails off, and we're going to develop them. And guys that leave, I understand that's part of it, and I'm going to wish them good luck. I never worry, as many injuries as we've had this year. If I worried and lost sleep over that, we wouldn't be in a bowl game right now. Is this year where we want it to be? No, but I know this. There's guys that were, and we talked about this, that were 1-3 and that were 3-5 that are going to watch the bowl game versus be in a bowl game. We have an opportunity to be in a bowl game and get a lot of practices for, our current young guys, and, try our best to send our seniors out on a good note, playing in a really good bowl against a really good opponent.
Okay, guys, we've got time for 2 more questions. So let's go to Shawn Dylan first, and then we'll finish with David Collier.
Shawn Dylan, Rockin' Pregame. Coach, you going into a game where you've got 2 incredible running talents between Jaden Ott and Taj Brooks. How do you look at these 2 players and how whoever stops the rush could win this game?
Yeah, it's I got a great text from Tony Bradford today, which is not going to surprise anybody on this call because of what kind of person he is and what kind of player and what he's done for this university. And it was funny. I said, well, we're fixed to face one of the best running backs in the nation. So this defense you got to lead us to try to stop the run. And that's the exciting part, I think, in the draw to this game. You truly have 2 of the best running backs in the country. You got a running back that we have in Taj Brooks that's been incredible all year long, that's created the most missed tackles in the country. And then you have a young man that, is really special for Cal. And, I haven't got to watch them a lot, watched them a little bit last week when they were a possible opponent, a few series, but man, he's really good, and he's a very physical back, and they play, the thing that I was excited about and the thing about them, man, they played some really good football teams, and he's done that against some really good football teams. So we got our work cut out for us. But from a fan perspective, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch those two guys.
And how does this game set forward and set you up for next year?
You know, it's kind of like last year, but also this year, we're really going to focus really hard of sending our seniors out on a good note. They definitely deserve it. But then the young guys coming back, it's almost the start of the 2024 season, and trying to carry some momentum into the off season is a big part of it.
Okay, let's finish with David Collier. This will be the last question.
Hey, Coach. Two-part question since it's the last question. First one, with the potential guys that are already in the portal and leaving, what receivers do you think stand to benefit in the bowl game there at the Independence Bowl? And also, as we head out, do you have a favorite Independence Bowl memory that maybe you watched a snow game or something like that?
Well, I would start, with you're talking about this the snow game and different things. I'm hoping for really good weather. I know that, but we'll be prepared for whatever the weather we have. Man, that's a good question. I kind of do the same, like kind of what I did with the offensive line. The expectation, if we were in, 11 personnel, you're going to have Coy Aiken at the outside receiver. You're going to have Xavier White at the slot. And then you'll have Jordan Brown at the other outside receiver. And then, of course, Mason and Baylor at tight ends. If we were going 10 personnel, you'll have Coy, you'll have X, you'll have Dre McCray. And then Dre McCray and X will do a lot slot-wise. You got Brady Boyd and then Jordan Brown. And so then you add in the young guys, and I'm probably going to miss somebody, so you have Loic still that's behind Coy. Then you got DJ Crest that he plays the outside. TJ West has played more of the outside during practice, and Kelby has been more of the inside. And so, we feel good about the guys we have, the guys that have played a lot. Xavier White leads us in yards after catch, and he might be our leading receiver when you're talking about yards overall. Coy has had a great season coming back from his injury. Jordan Brown early in the season when he was healthy was a dynamic receiver. And so we feel good, we feel good about the guys that we have. And you look at it whenever you don't have somebody, you just look at it as an injury. And we've definitely dealt with plenty of that this year and continued to play. And I always tell them, man, the ball's going to be kicked off at 8:15 in Shreveport, Texas in the Independence Bowl. And we're going to have the Red Raiders are going to show up. We're going to have a team out there. They're going to be extremely fired up to play in a great bowl, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you guys for joining the call. Thank you, Coach McGuire, for joining as well. We're excited to get the Red Raiders here to Shreveport.